Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, my friend. It's good to be here.
Brand new year.
Brand new year, and we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to give the information that we need to get out to the community that will make our community a better community. Well-informed is a better community.
Yeah, and speaking of information, our sponsors.
Yes, Tamiko and Associates Realty, our new sponsor, Lavinia and Summers Home of Funerals, Marion County Public Health Department right here. Then we have Lee Koschel and Crawley and Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, His Place Eatery, Fervent Care Christian Academy, North Side Window and Gutter Cleaning. Give those sponsors a call. Let them know how much you appreciate them.
Yeah, and certainly we do. And also, we want to encourage you to go to the WHMB TV 40 YouTube site, and you can watch this show when it's over, as well as many others that you might have missed. And
yeah, like us on Facebook. And you know what was so ironic about it? In this particular show today, our guest was our first guest many years ago when we first started Real People, Real Voices.
And one of our first sponsors.
Yes, and has been with us ever since.
Yeah,
hope she remains. Hope they remain with us.
Yeah, we're proud, very proud of her. All the work she's done during this crisis that we've had. So we want you to stay with us. We're going to be back with Dr. Virginia Kane here in just a little bit. And it's going to be a blessing to you. So stay right there. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, and we're joined by Dr. Virginia Kane.
Thank you.
Always great to have you.
Well, it's
Dr.
always
Kane?
an honor and pleasure to meet two of my favorite people in the faith-based arena
Thank you. We appreciate that.
and special community leaders. What can I say?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us about Omicron.
You know, Omicron is a very scary thing because we've now seen a virus that has mutated and changed significantly since the original coronavirus that occurred almost 18 to 24 months ago. So the fact that it can mutate and it can change may suggest that it can become resistant to the vaccines that we have available. But the slightly good news is right now, it seems to be a milder infection. The symptoms appear to be milder. We don't quite see the same level of hospitalizations and deaths, but we got to remember this originated in South Africa. And if you go back and look at some pockets of South Africa, over 70% of that entire population had already been infected. So they might have had a little natural immunity so that we didn't see the surge of hospitalizations and tremendous amount of deaths that we saw here in the United States, because we have a significant number of our population that are still not vaccinated. So we really don't know yet what the consequences will be for this new Omicron variant until it becomes the dominant strain. And I just got to remind people that the Delta variant came out of nowhere, was the predominant strain in 1 month after arriving in the United States. So they think that the same is going to occur with this Omicron because they think it's even more contagious than the Delta variant.
You said something to us 20 months ago as our local Surgeon General, and that was that this Corona-19 is an intelligent virus. Tell her what you meant by that.
Okay. It's very smart. So these viruses learn how to adapt. So how do I change in order for me to survive? But I need to survive in humans, okay? So as I get into your system, what kind of changes do I need to make so that your medications and your antibodies, your natural immune antibodies, can't prevent me from getting into a human body's living cell? See, our vaccines work because they induce antibodies in our bloodstream. And so if we ever exposed to a coronavirus, our antibodies will attack that virus and make sure that it can attach to our human cell. So they got attached to our human cell. It's on a special S protein receptor. Once I attach, I can shoot my virus inside your human cells, and I can take over your human cells and start replicating lots of viruses. And if I multiply a large number of viruses, it gets to the point that you have so many viruses, it's attacking your organs of your body, your liver, your kidney, your heart, your brain. And so these antibodies, whether they're man-made, because we can have man-made antibodies from just having an active infection versus a vaccine-induced antibodies that will prevent you from having, maybe you don't prevent all the viruses, but you never get it to a level where it's in large quantities in your body. So you may get a reinfection, but it's a mild version because I have not allowed your viruses to multiply in large quantities inside the body, taking over different organs of the body.
So that would make you, as the term I'm hearing now, a long hauler.
Yes, so a long hauler means that you can have some long-term side effects related to having an active coronavirus. And one of the places that this virus loves to have what we call a predilection, like some of its favorite sites, is the brain. Okay, so it's the brain, and also because it involves the entire body, there are two major symptoms that long haulers get. One, they get a brain fog. So they have their short-term memory is just very difficult, hard to remember. They may even have difficulty just doing simple calculations. You know, I may have bought something for $11 and I can't calculate that you owe me $9 in return. And this brain fog can last for months, but they're concerned that it's maybe lasting for years. And then the chronic fatigue syndrome, which really hits people. 80% of the folks who get this chronic fatigue syndrome, they're so tired, they're so exhausted, they can't keep their normal jobs if they had a job before. They're just so tired. It's an arm and a leg for them to get out of their bed, to even walk to their restroom, their bathroom in their house, just go to the bathroom. And they don't appear to have if you're immunocompromised like HIV, you may have some chronic fatigue, but you have good hours, where you're feeling great, the energy's the same, you don't even know you wouldn't even know you're HIV infected. But then you can have chronic fatigue and those bouts where you just exhaust yourself by the end of the day. With the coronavirus, it's different. You seem like you have this chronic fatigue syndrome all the time, constantly. It's just, it can be a nightmare.
That question, doctor, is it, that's why vaccination is so important.
Yes.
Long haulers are those who have, in many cases, according to the data that I read, are those who have non-vaccinated people. They're able to come back, but they are plagued with these symptoms.
They can be plagued with long-time symptoms.
Yeah.
You can have loss of hair. Some people for weeks to months have loss of taste. Now, wow, I can't taste my food. But even loss of smell, which can be more dangerous. So you had a fire, smoke in your apartment, you can't smell it. You wouldn't know.
Or gas leak.
Can't smell a gas leak. So, and then it does impact, sometimes it can impact inflammation of the heart. Long-term impact in that regard. It can impact your kidneys. So different organs of the body that can be seen with having this long hauler syndrome. And we're really concerned about it in terms of what can happen if you are a child, you are younger. How does that impact your mental growth, okay? And the other symptoms that can be associated with children. That's why it's so critical for us to get our children vaccinated early.
And I think we only have a minute.
Let's take a pin there.
Yeah,
So
and we'll come back about the children. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, so we got a lot more to come from Dr. Virginia Kane, and questions you might have. They're going to be answered, a lot of them, on today. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, and we're joined by Dr. Virginia Kane, giving us all this great information about what's going on with the virus. At break, we were talking about the importance of getting children vaccinated.
Going back to that, Dr. Kane, I am an advocate, personally, I'm probably the only one in the city that's an advocate of COVID-19 immune shots. If I had polio shot, tetanus shot in school, I had all of those shots. I am an advocate of COVID-19 immunization shots in schools before they even come back to school. Mm-hmm. I'm an advocate of that, and I'm going to do my best to advocate that, and that we can have testing in school. Those are two things that I really would like to see take place, because I don't believe COVID is going away within the next 4 or 5 years. I don't.
So it's unfortunate, and I think you done hit it on the nail, Reverend Moore. But we were hoping to reach herd immunity so that we could, be able to say we could eradicate this infection, but we were too slow. And I think we're to the point now that we may see this virus remain in our environment for years to come, just like influenza.
Yeah.
Where we may be required to get an immunization once a year in order to keep that necessary protection that we need.
How do you feel about immunization in school systems now?
Oh, I think
and testing as well.
Immunizations is incredible. When you look at measles, people don't realize how measles for children was killing so many kids, having meningitis, encephalitis, brain damage, even chickenpox. Can be deadly for some folks, and meningococcal infections, meningitis. So whether it's mumps, measles, tetanus, polio.
We have those shots.
Yeah, smallpox. We eradicated so many illnesses and deaths for our children, so that they're so healthy now, and whatever. So this is a critical tool, maybe the most important critical tool in order to make our children safe.
Is school immunization of COVID-19.
Yes, exactly.
So we're on the same page with that, huh?
Yes.
And we've heard a lot about vaccinations and how important they are. And there are a lot of people who are choosing not to be vaccinated. And they're hearing about the term that we hear about breakthrough infections. And maybe a lot of people don't understand what a breakthrough infection is. Can you speak to that?
So first, let me talk about the myths, just real seriously. Some people concerned about not taking the vaccinations. I've heard some, the younger millennium males concerned about they may get erectile dysfunction. That has been studied from a scientific standpoint very carefully, and there is no association of erectile dysfunction associated with this vaccine whatsoever.
And I can say that's true.
Yes, for pregnant women, there's no issues of women having experienced any infertility as a result of this vaccine. And if anything, pregnant women are at higher risk for more complications, severe complications,
if they get
than if they get it if they were not even pregnant. So critical, I think, for them to get vaccinated. But people say, oh, well, people got vaccinated and they got another infection. So why should I take the vaccine? Well, we do have breakthrough infections. But usually these breakthrough infections is because now we may have a little different variant. It's not the same original vaccine when we got vaccinated. That it's just enough, it's like a cousin. It's in the same family, but it's enough difference that I may not have the greater than 90% protectiveness with the original strain. We still at the original strain, the alpha strain. The vaccine would be greater than 90%. But now, because we've allowed it to mutate and change now, we can now have a breakthrough infection. But these breakthrough infections is less than 1% of the total population. They're milder, and they prevent over 85% rehospitalizations, and still almost close to 100% prevention of deaths. And so the reinfections, they're much milder. So you don't see people a lot of times being admitted, I've got to get on this respirator, critical care. And listen, this coronavirus can go so fast, 24, 48 hours, I'm complaining of shortness of breath. I've got a cough. I may have a sore throat, okay? And we know with children, they can sometimes get GI symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Or, I've got a runny nose, but I may have a headache, and a lot of them complain of body aches. I may even have back pain, would you believe it, associated with these symptoms. But you have more protection, you got more antibodies, so you're not getting the full impact of an infection without no protection. If I was a war buddy, and I love to play war, okay? I'm inside the fort. Folks are coming, my enemies are coming after me. Well, if I've got a full stack of soldiers, I can fight off that infection. If I got no soldiers, I'm going to take heavy damages, heavy losses related to that. So this is your body's immune system. It's your body's defense against these viruses. The earlier you get the protection, the more effective you are. But we have seen with this Omicron, the effectiveness of the Pfizer vaccine may get down as low as 33%. And that's why you need a booster. A booster, you know? So if you got last vaccinated 6 months ago, you need a booster because your immune system starts waning after 6 months with the vaccine. And if you had a natural coronavirus infection, your immune system starts waning after 3 months. So the vaccine provides better protection than, I'll take my chances, I'll get infected with this coronavirus and then I'm immune. So boosters, if you're immunocompromised, get your booster.
Dr. Kane, on that tip, the booster, I'm waiting on my next booster, whatever I got to get. I'm ready to boost.
Pfizer says that with the Omicron, you may even have to get a fourth booster 1 year from now.
Since you're talking about that, I think, Jackson, she mentioned earlier about the new
before we
medication.
run out of time, Merrick and Pfizer
Yes, so Merck has a new pill that if you're having symptoms, if you can take the pill within 1 or 2 days, it has a 33% effectiveness. But Pfizer states that if you're getting symptoms and you take, they're like 3 pills twice a day
Kinda
for
like the
5
Zip-Pak.
Yes, for 5 days, you're 89% prevented from being hospitalized and dying. That's not just rounding off to 90% for the Pfizer pills. But hey, what's the problem? We will only have tens of thousands of those pills for the next month or two. It won't be in the millions until February and March. That means you got to survive because, everybody in their country is going to be wanting these Pfizer pills. So it's going to take them a while to manufacture all those pills. But Christmas holidays, what should you do? If you're indoors and you are concerned about the people that are surrounding you are not vaccinated, wear a mask. So if you don't know the status of that person, their vaccination rate, and they've got to be completely vaccinated. Having one shot, unless it's Johnson & Johnson, doesn't protect you. So it's 2 weeks after if it's a 2-dose shot, 2 weeks afterwards before you're fully vaccinated, okay? So, and listen, Christmas holidays, everybody's coming from different states. They're just a plane ride away. Be very careful of letting people in your household as well because if they're not vaccinated and they're talking just like you and I, all three of us are vaccinated, but we were talking just like you and I'm putting these major respiratory droplets of coronavirus in the environment, and it can last for 20 to 30 minutes in the air. So even if I leave that spot, someone else comes in that same area and inhales, you may get infected. And if you got anyone in the household that's especially immunocompromised, recent cancer therapy, they may have severe HIV infection or some of those orders, then you really have to be very careful that they're not exposed to reinfection. And even young children can transmit the infection to their mothers, their parents, their grandparents, significant others.
Well, Dr. Kane, thank you.
Yes, and I have one last thing. It's the 18 to 24-year-olds who are causing the largest number of our cases in Marion County, then followed by the 25 to 44-year-olds. Okay.
Which they said couldn't get it at first.
Well, all I can tell you is you can have no symptoms and be infected and spread it to others. That's the key, and that's what they don't realize. You may have a great immune system, and maybe you never get sick, but you can become infected, and you can transmit it to somebody else, even if you have no symptoms. So if not for yourself, think about your loved ones, people you care about, the folks you run around with.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Welcome back. I'm James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm Curtis Baker.
And these are our sponsors, Tobacco Associates Realty Group, Lavinia and Summers Home for Funerals, the Marion County Public Health Department, Owls Modern Clothing and Shoes, His Place Eatery, Fervent Care Christian Academy and Daycare, Lee Castle and Crawley, Northside Window and Gutter Cleaning. And we appreciate you being here with us today. Appreciate you all too.
Thank you very much. And we'll have Dr. Kane back because she has so much information. We got to stay on top of this COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't forget to get your vaccination, your booster, and check out the therapies that are also available from all of us here at WHMB TV 40 and Real People, Real Voices. Happy New Year. We'll be back next time.